Oh, look at our tattoos. Alright. We just got out of the pool, so excuse my hair for this Rosé.
Excuse our hair and our get up.
Oh, testing.
Oh, testing.
Okay, that was a little bit better. Alright. I have my handy dandy notes. Look at this cute little notebook. You are worthy of every good thing.
Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to Made to Manifest. I'm Michelle and this is Reina. Today we are interviewing Reina in our podcast and she's going to share a little bit more about herself and her story. So first thing, share your name, where you live, what drew you here, and if this is your first conversation.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Reina. I'm from Martinsville, Virginia. What drew me here is my family. And this is basically my second podcast, but my first one being the person who's answering the questions. The first one I did was basically just introduction, so now we're going to be answering questions today.
Okay, so first question. What are your hopes and concerns for your community or the country in general?
Okay, so my hopes is that we're able to be more unified. I feel like we're all going or moving into a direction which I'm going to touch bases on Roe versus Wade. I feel like that direction is kind of backtracking us in a way. So I feel like we need to be more unified and go in more positive light and hopefully, just be, I guess, more knowledgeable and aware of what's going on in our government and things like that, so we can be more unified together.
Now, what would your best friend say about who you are and what inspires you?
Okay, I'm just gonna go based off what one of my friends said. She posted me. Shout out to Megan. I love you. She basically said, well, my nickname's Ray Ray, so you'll get it in a minute, but she called me a ray of sunshine.
Guys.
Mommy's sleeping, buddy. Mommy's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
You're sleeping too.
Boy, if you don't get your ass home.
He says it's nap time for you too.
Okay, go nappy.
No, I'm
Oh, no soda. Soda's too much sugar.
Go wash your.
Okay, so that was our other guest, Mateo. But she called me basically a ray of sunshine. And I never really see myself in that light, but when she said it, it kind of, I guess, clicked with me. I was like, that's pretty much how my other friends see me as well. Like, they just see, like, me as, well, I don't see myself as this, but they see me as kind of like a bubbly, kind of lighthearted person, very kind. So I'm gonna just stick with the ray of sunshine. That was awesome.
Okay. What sense of purpose guides you in your life?
Ooh, that's a good one. I guess really being there for others, helping each other out. But my purpose, honestly, I feel like I haven't found my purpose yet. Yeah.
Well, you're still pretty young, so you still
Yeah.
have a little bit. Like, I've just found my purpose here the past couple years, and I'm 30, so
Yeah.
no rush.
Yeah.
Next question, and this goes more into depth with our mental health. What experiences in your life, in your work, or in your family inform your views or understanding of mental health?
Okay, so really the term mental health wasn't brought to my attention until college, but I know a specific moment in my life where I can pinpoint where I became aware. Oh gosh, I keep saying where. I became aware of what kind of like the consequences, I guess, of mental health. So at a young age, there was a family member who we should probably put a trigger warning about suicide attempt. So at a young age, one of my family members was trying to commit suicide, and I didn't know at a young age what that really meant. I just people were just telling me she's not okay and she's going through things, and you know, it's just kind of like a roller coaster. So yeah, that kind of impacted me the most, but I didn't really realize what that was until I was older, how that affects you. So at a young age, it's kind of affected me in a way where I was like, okay, if I'm not happy, then this is what happens. So I kind of correlated the two and was like, oh, I have to be happy all the time. And you know, when I was younger, I wasn't happy all the time, so I was like, it was kind of like a cycle until, you know, I got older and kind of realized what mental health was. And it's not just one specific thing or one specific consequence. It could be a good thing, but also people go through, you know, different stories of mental health. Everybody's different. So that was kind of the event that kind of sparked mental health. I just didn't know what it was at the time.
Okay, what is the impact of mental health issues in your community, or have you seen changes in these issues over time?
Okay, so one that I'm kind of aware of, well, I'm aware of many, but really drugs. I feel like that's definitely an impact on your mental health. We have, you know, opioid crisis and things like that, you know, it's kind of like, oh, don't go near these people because, you know, they're addicted to drugs. Even relatives, you know, we have seen and kind of grew up with are now and used to be addicted to drugs. And it's kind of been with my family for a long time. It's just people kind of hide it, or it's just now I feel like it's easier to get. And it's more spoken about, like, hey, this is where I got this from, go to this person. And I just feel like it's more of a convenience kind of thing. Like, oh, hey, I know where to get it. You can get it here and do it, and it'll help you out. Or, you know, it kind of like, it goes into a downfall, spiral, where it's like, here, you can have this, and then you start to get addicted to it. And yeah, I would say that's one of the things in the community that I'm aware of, like, that affects mental health a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then a lot of people who start down that road is because they don't open up about their mental health. So usually mental health is the beginning pieces, and they don't know how to cope or how to get out of that situation, and so they end up turning to drugs because they're not able to handle, or they don't have the support, or they don't have the resources they need to help overcome their mental illness. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like another thing is that once people get into the drugs, people don't talk to them, or they look away. You know, they everybody knows they're doing it, but they're not wanting to do or say anything to that person about it.
They think it's either too sensitive, or they're like, oh, they're just going through a phase, they're just going through something right now. And it's kind of like a taboo subject, I feel like, okay, you can get that at the hospital, but you don't know from getting that one painkiller that it can lead to your addiction.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, you're seeking help, and most of the time people don't want to help you out because that's giving them money, you know? I guess that's how I feel about that little bitty.
Yeah, and that's a big taboo subject.
Yeah,
I agree with that. We'd have to really get in deep with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Does your religion or culture or some other aspect of your identity or background influence how you think about mental health? If so, how?
Okay. So, as some of you know, we're Chicanas, all three of us. So, we're half white and Mexican. Latinas can mean different, like you're from a different area, but we're specifically Mexican. So, I feel like really when you're seen, it's kind of like, well, me really, when I was younger, they would be like, oh, your mom's white? Like, the color of her skin, like, Oh, that's your mom?
Yeah. Always
Like,
got that,
I
especially
was
since
like,
I'm so much darker.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's my mom. And we don't have colored eyes.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, yeah, that's my mom. And they were like, oh, okay. And then it's kind of basically like either they judge you by your color or they judge you because you don't speak or just things like that. Because, I mean, I'm shy, so I'm not going to speak really. I'm just going to look like, okay, what's going on? I'm really a listener, not really a talker. So I'm just going to just sit there and listen. But it's definitely like, I guess, a tough thing too, like the machismo kind of deal.
Which machismo means that men are the providers, they're the strong ones, they're the ones that are in charge. You've got to cater to the women, cater to the men. That's for those that don't know what machismo are.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like our culture really growing up was based around that. Like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to clean, you're going to have to cook, you have to clean, you have to watch the kids while you go work. And it's just, it's not equal at all, in my opinion. So
Well, that and times have changed. I mean, I feel like that's an older type of viewpoint. And now, like, that was back when men could go work and they could cover all the bills. Now that's not possible.
Yeah, and women couldn't really work back in the day too. Like, they weren't offered jobs, men were offered the jobs. So I do definitely feel like time has changed that situation in some individuals, but I still feel like it's still like you still have to be tough. You still have to, you know, like suck it up, buttercup, you know, kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, like I got to be the strongest in the world or something. So, but I do agree that it definitely has changed over time, and I do think that is a good thing that we're moving in that way, to kind of be more equal. And even though, you know, men still get better pay than we do, but whatever, you know.
One battle at a time.
Yeah, like Maria says, baby steps.
Yeah.
You know, one step at a time. But definitely in our culture, I feel like that's still something that happens till this day.
How do you care for or consider your mental and emotional health? What is the impact of that? What do you do to kind of help your situation?
Okay, so I do know that Maria mentioned last time retail therapy, and that is definitely one of mine. I just go, but it's really I go alone. Like, it's fun when I go with others, but alone I feel like it's more of a kind of zen moment where it's kind of like I'm by myself, I'm doing self-care for me, and I enjoy the time that I'm alone. So definitely that. I also like to do like makeup or like art that helps me just play some like classical music or something and get in my zone. And yeah, I enjoy doing that too. And then other than that, I would say I used to use food as comfort too. That was a big thing for me growing up, where I would just eat chocolate, I would eat ice cream, you know, mainly the things that were ever for you. I would eat.
Food,
yeah.
Especially southern cooking too. I mean, that's just like most comfort food.
And then I would know, you know, where you get to a point where you're getting full. It's like I would know I would get full, but I would still want more. You know, I'm like, I'm not comforted yet, so I just kept eating what wasn't good for me. And sugary drinks or donuts, stuff like that, they don't fill you up. So you just keep on eating until like your stomach hurts, basically. So I feel like that was definitely an issue for me. But now, after that, especially in college, where I started going to the gym, then that's what was releasing my stress. And then after the gym, it kind of, you know, it's like you feel like, wow, I just did that for myself. You know, you're releasing the endorphins, as they say, and you take a shower and then you just feel like, wow, I'm a new person. So yeah, I definitely think those three things are something that I utilize to help me, you know, in my mental health. So yeah.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind sharing, I wanted to ask, what are some of those things that
Pop quiz.
What are those mental health? What are your mental health struggles?
Okay, so for me currently, as I just mentioned about the gym in college, so while I was in college, I Well, even in high school, you know, I've always struggled with my weight, so that's definitely one that takes up. And I know a lot of people go through the same thing because I feel like society now is like you have to be a supermodel, you know, to feel awesome and to feel amazing in your own skin. But I even like looked at an interview on supermodels, and they're like, I just want to eat. Like literally, I don't get to eat like my favorite foods, and I just want to eat. And I'm just like, I want to get to the point where I could just look at me and say, wow, like my body has brought me to like 22 years and I look fabulous. Yeah. Like I want to get to that point mentally, because I know I've struggled with it so long that it just takes, you know, baby steps. And it's like your body's carrying you through these certain stages in your life, like before you have a kid, after you have a kid, and onward. So it's like, it's a powerful thing.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, for me especially, like I've had 2 kids biologically, and my body has taken some hits. But like when I look at myself in the mirror like now, I'm like, look at your battle scars, girl. I mean, look what you've been through. I've got scars everywhere from about neck down, I feel like. And I'm like, wow. And even now, but before I feel like I didn't take care of it. You know, I was just taking it for granted. And now hitting 30, I'm like, girl, you need to take care of this body of yours, because look what has brought you through.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. So I completely understand. And then the whole body dysmorphia, I'm there with you. I think most of us probably are. Feeling like you have to be a certain size and everything like that. And I mean, even my daughter now, my oldest, she thinks that she needs to be skinnier, she needs to be thinner. And I'm like, girl, you are gorgeous. No. We're not doing that. You look beautiful the way you are. I mean, you don't need to get skinnier. You don't need to get bigger, more toned, any of that. You are, and I think she's finally getting to the point where she's like, yeah, I am. I look pretty good. And I'm like, yes. If I could go back and tell my 18-year-old self that, I'd hype myself up like, girl, you look good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't have that then. So now I've got my girls, you look good. I'm gonna hype them up.
Yeah, and I feel like that is a lot of like standards. I mean, America, you know, anywhere you go, really, they have the standards of what looks good in like the majority of Americans' eyes. But honestly, who's gonna get down to like 100 and have abs and, you know, thin legs
and still
like,
be able to enjoy their life? Like I'm like, how? Yes, I understand the will and the want to be skinny and to be thin and everything like that, but I like food. I mean,
like the comfort. Like,
the comfort of it. And I mean, I don't, like now I'm not eating it to overindulge. I mean it just because I want to eat it. I'll take like half of the sandwich or just a couple of bites of the pizza or whatever, but I'm like, I want the food. And I'm not going to deny myself that.
And that's what I had to learn too. I like all the diets. Everybody loves diets over here, so I feel like we love to like see the effects of the diet, but not make it into a lifestyle. Like, okay, we're gonna try keto and fasting, which fasting is good for you, but until a certain period where your body can handle it. Not eating for like a month, you know, that's definitely gonna destroy your metabolism. So I feel like just diets in general, the diet culture, that's just a no for me anymore, because I know that it affects my body more negatively than it does positively. And then it also affects your brain, because you're like, okay, well, I'm down, okay, well, you know, keto got me down to 10 pounds in 1 week. And then the next week, okay, you start putting on a little bit more, but it's more muscle. But then you're looking at the scale and you're like destroying your mentality because the scale says otherwise. And it's just, it's insane what, you know, your mental health how it can affect you physically and emotionally and spiritually, you know? And it's like they're all one. Like some people over here, you know, working out their physique to get, you know, the best they can, which I applaud. However, they don't spend time on their mental health. They don't spend time on their spiritual health. They don't spend time on these other things that they need to spend time on as well.
Yeah, because I mean, some of the most beautifulest, you know, thinnest, curvaceous, or you know, whatever you want to call it, girls, they still feel lonely, or they still feel empty without a purpose. And I mean, it's all three: spiritual, emotional, physical. It all goes hand in hand. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I mean, I've seen you on your journey. So I mean, beginning of your journey to now. I mean, and it's not over. You still got you still got some to go. I know, but I mean, seeing what you've done and how dedicated you are, how you look at yourself now. I mean, I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of you too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a long journey too. It's not short. How long would you say your journey's been?
I mean, for me, ever since high school, really. Like, I mean, working on all three of those things, it's kind of been since high school, because I've definitely struggled with, we never go to the doctors. I mean, most of the time, like, if we, emergency, but, like, I feel like I definitely needed to, I guess, reach out when I was in high school, because there was a lot going on. But then college, I was alone all the time, so... Like physically, not mentally, because I knew y'all had my back all the time. But that aloneness kind of brought me to who I was. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, those times when you're by yourself, that's when you really open up to yourself, I guess you could say, about, you know, what am I doing? Why am I here? Where am I going? You know, what I want to do with my life, kind of things. And I mean, that really gets you thinking. Yeah. Especially the more alone time you have.
I mean, it's good to enjoy, like, that's what I would do. I would enjoy that alone time at the gym by myself, like, in my zone. You know, this is for my health, you know. So that's when it kind of like took a flip for me. And I guess, like, exercising doesn't have to be destroying to your mentality. Just because you want to work on yourself physically to help your mentality doesn't mean it has to, you know. I don't know how to say it, but, like, just because you want time alone from others doesn't mean, like, you're, like, replacing them, or you're just trying to figure out who you are. And that's really, like, that was that space for me. And that's where I grew, and was really in the gym and in college, when I could take time and figure out what I wanted.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I like the gym because I'll have music in my ears, you know, the TVs are going and everything, but my brain is, like, empty. Like, I'm just walking. Like, it's the only time in my day that everything's quiet. The only, like, if I do anything, I'm counting, and I was like 1, 2, 3, you know, for my reps or whatever. But that's the only thing I'm doing is counting, and I can do that any time of the day. So I think that's one of the reasons why I'm actually starting to enjoy the gym, is because I don't have all these voices going on in my head. It's just.
And I feel like that's a lot to do with, like, overthinking and,
like,
anxiety.
Yes, yeah. Definitely. Because, I mean, I've caught myself a couple of times. Like, I'll say, I'm going only for 30 minutes, an hour, or whatever. I've caught myself in the gym for, like, an hour and a half before, because I'm, like, so in love with the no voices in my head thing. And I'm like, I need to go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can completely understand that you're just with yourself, just appreciating, I guess, your effort that you're putting into yourself.
Yeah. And like you said, I think you said on your Facebook post, you're like, this is, like, me time, like, the time for my self-care.
Yes. And see, that's something I've never done before. Like, I've never given myself self-care in my entire life. Never. So here we go, 30 again. Sorry, I just did that this year, so that's my milestone so far. It's 30. But that's been my self-care. And I mean, like, I'm not a go get a manicure type person. I mean, a pedicure is really nice. If I get anything, it's a pedicure, because I love, you know, how my feet feel and love the relaxation. But this is the first thing that I've done consistently, like, every day, is going to exercise. And I mean, my 18-year-old self would be like, oh my goodness, you're doing what? You're actually wanting to go to the gym? I'm like, I'm actually going to the gym. That's not something I would have ever thought I would have heard myself say, going to the gym.
That's kind of like what had kind of switched in me too, is I didn't really visualize it as a chore. I visualize it as, this is helping me for me mentally, you know? Like you said, like, it's kind of like a space where it's, like, clear in your head, Because I'm definitely overthinking. I think about a million things like per second, and it's like, it never shuts off, like you said. And I think that's definitely something that helped me out with that too.
Yeah.
Especially with like the stress and everything. I was like, everything aside, off my shoulders. Like, we're just going to the gym, get this quick workout, even if it's 30 minutes. Get this quick workout, and it's gonna be good. You're sweaty, you know. Take a nap or go to sleep afterwards, and it feels awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts?
No, I would just say really to the audience, like, you're doing your best and just take it day by day. Like one of our t-shirts says, not trying to promote or anything, it says one day at a time, and that's really what you have to do. Because say you can have the best mentality today, but tomorrow you wake up and you're like, oh dang, like I didn't do this yesterday, I didn't do this yesterday, like kind of beating yourself up. And it's like, you shouldn't do that. You should take one day at a time, kind of wake up with a clear head and just try to enjoy your day. And I would say enjoy your life, but like we said, one day at a time, one step at a time. Take the baby steps. Don't try to, like Maria says, jump the staircase all the way to the top, because that's not really achievable. So yeah, I mean, if you're trying to jump all the way to the top, you're gonna burn out definitely a lot quicker than someone who's taking baby steps. So I would definitely just say take it one day at a time.
Definitely. All right, well, thanks for joining us here at Made to Manifest. We will be here week after next with our next episode. Listen to you then.
See ya.
Bye.